Darlington County School District, and welcome back to the first In the Know session for the 24-25 school year. Welcome all back to the new school year for the Darlington County School District. What a great way to kick it off. We were at the Hartsville Arena for convocation, and it is the first time that we have all been together in 5 years. And what a great experience, what great energy, collaboration, camaraderie. It was just a wonderful morning to be able to be together and celebrate the start of the new school year. And so we heard many great cheers, and so I have to give a shout out to a couple that stood out. Of course, the Darlington High School staff, not only did they have their cheer down, but they had some marching band instruments that took part with the staff participation, and then there was also some gymnastics that were taking place. So they threw a whole lot at us at one time. So a shout out to Darlington High School, and then Bay Road Elementary, with the mascot, of course, in tow, did an excellent job. So everybody did a great job, and thank you for your participation. It was a lot of fun to be able to see that, and I always look forward to that part of being together in convocation. And of course, that's our word of the year, is together, that we are definitely better together, and we will do all this work together this year. So also, speaking of the start of the new school year, was a great start. I would say that everybody I spoke with was very favorable upon starting on the Thursday like we did, not only with our teachers and staff, but then also with our students on a Thursday. And kind of getting 2 days under our belt, and then having a weekend to kind of rest and settle, and then having everybody coming back on that Monday. Heard a lot of good comments about that, and that is the way that our calendar is set up again for next year. And then also a lot of great pictures and great stories about best first day ever. Never gets old for me. And I know for the adults, sometimes we might say, well, we do this every year, but for our kids, especially our new kids, it's the first time. And even for the kids that may have experienced it last year, it is special to them, hearing us, recognizing them, letting them know how much we care about them, and really just kind of taking the edge off the day for them coming back to school and being with us. So again, kudos to all of you all, and how you made that day special for your students and your families. And then there's nothing like a start of a school year and then to throw a hurricane in the middle of it. And so Hurricane Debbie decided to visit South Carolina after we had gotten started that second week. And thankfully, we did not receive the rain totals that they were expecting for us, and some of the rain totals that folks around us may have received. So grateful that we did not have a lot of damage. Of course, we were out for e-learning days for 2 days, and that was primarily due to the deterioration of back roads. Many of our buses drive on dirt roads around the county and secondary roads. And there are some areas in Darlington County that are prone to flooding when we have heavy rains, and so that was the biggest reason that we were doing the e-learning days. And again, as with any other type of weather call or school call, we're always talking with our emergency management folks in the district, in the county, talking with law enforcement, talking with peers around us, and taking all that information to make the best decision when we can make the best decision. So I know sometimes it may seem like that we wait to do that, but I am always in favor of being in school if we can be. And of course, I'm always in favor of not being in school if there is any type of danger involved. So again, we had our 2 e-learning days. We have 5 that we're able to use for the school year. So we still have 3 e-learning days left, And then we'll have to use actually our weather days on our calendar, which are extra days, if we go past those 3 e-learning days. My hope is that we don't have any weather days between now and the end of the school year, and we don't have to worry about it. Also wanted to mention at Convocation, we did celebrate our new Teacher of the Year, Tracy Allman from Hartsville High School, and our new Support Staff Employee of the Year, Amy Bullard from Lamar Spalding Elementary School. Congratulations to both of them, and I'm looking forward to meeting with our Teachers of the Year and Support Staff of the Year at my cabinet meeting later on this month. We had a board meeting this past Monday, and we had a student celebration. Mary Ellen Hickey from Hartsville High School was celebrated for being on the All-State softball team this year. So congratulations to Mary Ellen Hickey on that. We also celebrated some board members. Board members have what they call Boardmanship Institute levels. It's similar to professional development that we do within the schools. And so 3 of our board members were recognized for achieving a new level. Lucas Reed, Audrey Gore, and Amanda Thompson achieved Level 2 status with the Boardmanship Institute. Congratulations to them, and again, looking forward to achieving more levels. There are 6 total that board members are able to achieve through this process. We had 2 presentations Monday evening. The first was the summary of the communications audit. And so Audrey Childers, along with our national group INSPRA that conducted the communications audit for us in the school district, presented to the board the findings and a summary of what that information was. And just to highlight a few things, we had over 660 stakeholders complete surveys for the communications audit. And those ranged from teachers to students to parents to community members, support staff, all types of stakeholders across the district. And what we found is that the vast majority of those folks rated their satisfaction with communication within the school district very high. And so it was confirmation that we are doing a lot of things right with communication in the school district, and that there was high awareness by employees and parents of the academic strengths and the opportunities that are available within the Darlington County School District. So it was great to get confirmation of some of those things, but they also have some recommendations for us and some ways that will help us get better at communication. The first of those items is to update and enhance our communication plan that we have, and we're taking the results of the audit to do that. So we'll use this information to update the new communication plan that we have in place. The second recommendation is to elevate the perception of Darlington County School District schools through branding, marketing, and storytelling. We need to do more of all the great things that go on in our district and be able to tell that louder and farther and to more people. And we're all on board with that. And then from a branding standpoint, you know, it's time to rebrand the school district. And so we will be looking at that this school year. Another recommendation was to expand awareness of the district's accomplishments through community outreach. Again, finding ways to go out in our community to talk about all the great things that happen in our school district. Another recommendation was to engage the community through enhanced social media content. That's the majority of the communications that appears to go on these days is through social media. Another recommendation was to evaluate, strengthen, and expand the district's internal communications infrastructure to make sure everybody is in the loop on what's going on internally so we can tell everybody externally what's going on. And then the last recommendation is to increase transparency and trust by focusing on two-way communication in decision making. Again, involving as many stakeholders as we can when we are making decisions for the school district. So again, we were glad to be able to complete this process. Thank everyone that participated and were able to participate in the surveys and the interviews. And all this information will continue to be used throughout the year as we work on the recommendations from INSPRA. Another presentation that was given was the Cognia accreditation information that we are required to do through the state of South Carolina. Every 5 years, every school district goes through accreditation. And so this is where a group from outside comes in and examines many different areas of the school district and rates us and tells us how well we're doing things and gives us recommendations on how we can do some things better. So, you know, this used to be SACS. Some of you all remember SACS from years ago. And then it became Advanced Ed, and now it is Cognia. And if you all remember, in the past, this used to be where a team of people would come into our school district, and we would all cart them around in cars to the different schools, and they would make visits and do interviews. Well, all that has changed, and they do everything virtually now. So all of the information that was obtained from the district was done electronically. And there were some interviews. We did have some stakeholder interviews that they did, but the bulk of the information was done electronically. They don't do site visits anymore like they used to do in the past. But what came out of that for us, we have two noteworthy practices that they identified for the school district. And this is, I mean, that's a big deal. The last time we went through this, we didn't have any noteworthy practices. So those two noteworthy practices revolved around how inclusive we are when we are trying to make decisions and gather data, that we are reaching out to stakeholders, that we are reaching out across the district to get input. I always tell people that I don't want to make a decision by myself for something that affects this whole district. I firmly believe in getting input from whatever group it's affecting the most. And they identified that is very understood throughout the district, that we try to bring in as much input as we can when we're making decisions that affect the district. The other noteworthy practice was that our intense focus on data and how we use data to make decisions, how we use data to drive instruction that we're doing in the buildings, and also to look at new and innovative strategies that we may be using to help our students be successful. So those were the two areas of noteworthy practices. They also had two recommendations for us. The first was to, again, strengthen the way we evaluate any program that we have in the district, specifically around teaching and learning. So whether that's a software program or whether that's people, for example, interventionists, you know, what modes do we have to evaluate those programs and the impact they're having on student success and achievement, and what's the data associated with that as well. The other recommendation they had was that we need to give our students more of a voice in their learning, and that we need to find ways to allow them to be more in charge of their learning, take more ownership of it, to be more in tune with why we're asking them to do what we're asking them to do. And so, again, just trying to find ways that students can take ownership and take value in their process of learning, and why it's so important for them to be successful in what we're trying to teach them, and why it's so important for them to gain the skills that they have for when they graduate and leave us. So again, we were fully accredited by Cognia. We are glad to have gone through that process and glad to have given that particular update to the board. I also gave my superintendent's update, and just a couple highlights from that. We talked a little bit about test scores. Those actually have been embargoed, but they will be unembargoed this week, at the end of this week. And so those scores will be public. And of course, all of the schools' test scores, SC ready, EOC scores will be available for everybody to see. And I think I talked a little bit about this at our convocation, that for us, for the Darlington County School District, with our SC Ready scores, we were about even with last year. So, might have been, a 0.4 or 5% drop, but essentially even with last year. No really change downwards or upwards on our ELA scores. Our math scores increased, but it was a small increase. I believe it was about a 1.5% increase. And that was pretty representative of the state's scores as well. Their ELA scores did not budge much this year, upward or downward, and their math scores increased slightly. And as far as our EOC scores, we did have some good gains in Algebra 1. We had some gains in English 2. We had gains in biology. And unfortunately, we dropped in U.S. history. So, and this pretty much mirrored the state as well. Those areas pretty much mirrored the state scores. So all of that information will be made public, and of course, we'll all be disaggregating that information more and making sure that all of our teachers have the information they need so they can help their students and chart that path for student growth for this year. We also talked a little bit about capital projects that are going on, and gave an update on the new school construction site that we have in Darlington. And again, the work continues. Brick walls are going up, and we are soon to see steel roof joists that will go up on the building and hopefully get a roof on it within the next couple months, so we won't be susceptible to any weather issues. We're still on track to open that school next school year. That would be for the 25-26 school year in the Darlington area. That, of course, that's combining St. John's Elementary School and Rosenwald Elementary School. I also updated the board on other types of capital projects we have going on, specifically turf football fields. So that has been a big topic of conversation over the past month. And again, we are trying to get ready for those August 30th home football games at Hartsville High School and Darlington High School. Again, it's going to be close, but we are on track to be able to play those home football games at Hartsville High School and Darlington High School with their new artificial turf fields. We also talked about a few other items. I mentioned the cell phone protocols that we have now, the new cell phone protocols that we put in place in Darlington County in anticipation of what the state is doing. Of course, it was passed as a proviso this year, and there has not been an official policy that has come out from the State Department yet. But they're working on that, but we wanted to start the school year out with messaging what's going to be done throughout the year. And I will say this, that you all have done an extremely good job with this. And I also thank our parents on this, because I think many of us thought this was going to be an extremely difficult situation. And walking around the first few days of school and talking with folks over the past week or so, this has gone better than what we expected. And so I'm glad to hear that. I think our parents have done a good job helping us with our students. I think our students fully understand that this is what is in place moving forward. And I've actually heard a lot of positive comments about students socializing with each other and at lunchtime having conversations and being able to, just be able to talk to each other and look at each other instead of looking at screens and typing. So again, we'll have a policy that will be in place sometime over the next couple months, but the protocols seemed to have been working well as we started the school year. And that's the last that I have on my list, other than to tell you about, we do have a holiday coming up. Labor Day weekend, Monday, September 2nd, will be a holiday. And so I know everybody will be looking forward to that long Labor Day weekend. And of course, lots of college football games will be going on that many of us will be watching. good time for grilling out with family, and so look forward to that holiday. So again, as I always say, hug on your family, tell them how much you love them, tell them how much we appreciate them sharing you with us, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next In the Know.